Happy World Watercolour Month. For this month, every day I'm going to share with you a step-by-step watercolour tutorial to help you with this amazing challenge. It started in 2016 and I'll have more details about the challenge in the description below. And I really hope you enjoy this tutorial. So I'm going to paint this in my watercolour sketchbook. Details about that can be found in the description below. I've put some tape around the border and I'm actually going to use Daniel Smith's Coral Reef, but you could use buff titanium with a pinch of pink. So there's no drawing here. I'm wetting the paper with a large mop brush, lots and lots of water. Let that water soak in. And I'm mixing up here a really dilute puddle of ultramarine with a pinch of the Coral Reef. So it's about 80% ultramarine and 20% Coral Reef, but again you could use ultramarine with a pinch of any pink will do. So I'm painting wet in wet here with the large mop brush down to the horizon, which is 2/3 of the way down. So it pales as it goes towards the horizon, so use lots of water here. So I am adding a little bit more ultramarine at the top here, just slightly dark with a pinch of the Coral Reef. As you can see there, it's slightly stronger and it's all wet into wet, and I'm letting it tilt so the paint runs down. It creates a lovely atmospheric effect. I'm going to allow my painting to dry. My painting has dried and I am going to mix up again the ultramarine with the Coral Reef. Again, about 80% ultramarine with 20% Coral Reef. Again, you can use a pink or a buff titanium as an alternative. As you can see, it's quite dilute, but it's darker than the sky. So it looks like a distant hill. There's no drawing here. And I'm just paling that to the horizon using a clean, damp brush and just blending it away with that clean, damp brush. And I'm going to allow my painting to dry once more. I'm mixing up a few greens here using Cascade Green with Ultramarine by Daniel Smith. You could use Ultramarine with Sap Green. I'm also using Serpentine Genuine with the Ultramarine, but you could use Ultramarine and Yellow. It's just to make sort of light, medium and dark greens. I've added some raw sienna to that as well, just to make it a little bit lighter. Some more Cascade Green in here as well with the ultramarine, just to make it that bit darker. And I'm also mixing ultramarine with Jane's Grey. You can use Payne's Grey with the ultramarine and a little bit of that Cascade Green. Again, you can use Sap Green. I've also mixed up some raw sienna here with a little bit of that Serpentine Green there. So it's just going to be wet on dry with my size 8 mop brush. So painting about 2/3 of the way down, so it's the horizon, adding a little bit of the Serpentine Green. Remember, you can use Sap Green with some yellow, and I'm just adding the darker greens as I work my way down. So I get really dark at the bottom using the ultramarine, the grey with a little bit of green in there, so it's quite thicker and darker. And this is to create depth in the painting, so you're blending wet into wet in each other there, but starting wet on dry. And now I'm going to tilt to allow the paint to flow and blend. I've swapped to a smaller size 6 brush here, using some raw sienna with the Cascade Green and Ultramarine. I'm painting damp into wet on the horizon, using the tip of the brush just to create small bushes and foliage here. Don't worry about it running into the paint below. It creates a lovely atmospheric effect. So I'm also painting small trees as well. This is completely from my imagination, and I'm using the belly of the brush as well, or the side of the brush, to create a little bit more texture. The paint doesn't flow as fast, so you get a little bit more texture, especially if the paper is quite textured as well. So just working my way along here, using the side of the brush, adding a little bit more dark as well. Just using the tip of the brush, painting damp into wet. Loading my brush again, just dipping it into all the different greens now, just to vary them. So I'm painting a larger tree here on the right hand side, using the side and the belly of the brush. You can see how it creates texture. You may need to practice this technique, but it is fun to do, or you could use a sponge to do this as well. So mixing up a darker green here using Green Apatite Genuine with grey. So it is pretty dark. And I'm going to take the excess paint off on a paper towel so it makes the brush sort of damp and not too wet. Again, I'm using the belly of the brush and literally sort of scraping it or scrubbing it on the side to create textures, and you can see how dark they are. So just adding a little bit more dark at the bottom, damp into damp, using the tip of my brush on the smaller bushes on the left, in the middle as well, and on the trees on the right hand side, really building up, working light to dark there. I'm using my plastic card to lift off some of that dark paint to create lighter tree trunks and branches. It's really effective, but you've got to do that when the paint is damp, not too wet and certainly not too dry. Adding a little bit more ultramarine to that grey and just painting damp into damp at the bottom of the trees, really to ground them and to make them look like they're growing out of the ground, and then just adding a little bit more darks. Don't be afraid of the dark. I'm using a liner brush now, mixing burnt sienna, ultramarine and the grey. And I'm just using the tip of the brush just to paint in fence posts, just to add some detail to the horizon there. And you can see how effective it is, just that little bit of detail. It doesn't have to be much, just here and there. So painting in some of the rails as well. This is pretty much wet on dry, and remember, it's out of my imagination. What I would say, because I did get carried away, is less is more. I'm painting in some branches here, pretty much wet on dry, using the tip of that liner brush, so just adding lots of little details here and there. Painting in a paler bush here, just beyond that fence, wet on dry, and then just adding a few more tree trunks and branches here, wet on dry, using the grey with the burnt sienna and the liner brush. So lots of very thin sort of branches here, just to really build up that detail. Felt my painting looked a bit flat in the background, so I'm mixing up a very dilute ultramarine with the serpentine green, but you can use yellow with about 80% ultramarine. So it's a very dilute blue-green colour. Make sure your painting is absolutely dry and glaze that very thin blue-green wash gently using a soft brush. I'm using my size 6 round brush here over the sort of background here, and it just creates another hill, and I'm just dropping in some blue-green paint there, wet into wet, just to vary the tonal values as well, and it just creates another layer. And you can see the lovely hard edge there pulls away from that distant hill, and it just creates more depth in the painting. Now, as you can see, I'm having a little play here, just dropping in slightly darker colours at the top there, again just to add that little bit more detail to bring the painting to life. So I've decided to paint some more detail in the foreground, but I want to do this wet into wet and damp into wet. So I'm actually using clean-ish water and wetting that foreground. So you've got to be really careful because watercolour is not permanent. That's why we use soft brushes. So I'm gently wetting the paper so as not to disturb the paint underneath because it's dried. And now I'm mixing up a creamy Green Apatite Genuine with some grey, but you can use sap green and grey, or just paint a dark green colour. I'm using a small size 4 round brush here, and I'm just painting damp into wet or damp into damp, some darks right in the foreground, right at the bottom of my painting there. Again, this is all about creating depth, making my painting look more 3D. So painting these marks here pulls away from that distance, and it really does create the depth. I just love it. I'm actually using a kebab stick here, but you can use a cocktail stick or your plastic card, and I'm pulling up this wet paint to create thin grasses, and it just adds to the detail in the foreground. And I'm just adding a few leaves here, pretty much wet on dry, using the tip of my brush, using that lovely dark green colour. And I'm going to spatter that colour as well now, using my hand to protect the painting, but I'd recommend using some paper towel there. You might get some dark blobs in your sky. And now I'm using a plastic card to lift off some of that dark paint. I did it previously with the trees, and it creates lighter marks, lighter grasses, again, all adding to that detail in the foreground. I'm going to allow my painting to dry once more. My painting has dried and I'm really pleased with it, and I'm just using some paper towel to protect the painting. And a good tip is to tear it so it looks more natural when you spatter. And I'm just spattering some white paint here using my liner brush. Again, you might need to practice this, but it's just to create some little wild flowers and to create light and texture as well, especially in that foreground. Again, it creates depth. It's all about creating the depth for me. Little illusion of a 3D landscape on a 2D surface. As an alternative to spattering, you can just paint your white flowers on, varying the sizes, and try to keep them random, not all in a set pattern. So as you can see here, I'm just adding a few flowers wet on dry to finish off my painting. So I'm just removing the tape. I love this bit. It reveals a lovely white border. It's a great way of presenting your work, especially if you're not going to frame it, and also in your sketchbook as well. It also gives you time to assess to see if you need to do any more to your painting, but I think I'll leave it there for now. I'm really pleased with it. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you like this content and you would like to support the work that I create here on YouTube, why not think about joining my Patreon membership? You will get access to over 500 watercolor tutorials. Many of them have downloadable outline sketches. Some of the tutorials you'll also have access to downloadable PDF documents. With that, you get progress photographs and step-by-step instructions, and you can download that and keep them for yourselves. So I really hope that tempts you to join my Patreon membership. If you have any questions about the membership, please put those in the comments section below. And if you want to join the membership, just click Patreon in the description below. Happy painting. Bye for now.